Thank you for tuning in to the Life of KG podcast. We are all about helping you guys in the beauty industry. Whether you're starting out in this industry or been in the business for years, we want to motivate you, educate you, and support you to grow. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. So today we are interviewing Michelle from Sinful Lashes. If you don't know Sinful Lashes, they are based in the USA, and Michelle I have followed for many years now and really looked up to her, and I was so excited when she said yes to joining me on the podcast. Now, Michelle lives in Hawaii while her business is running in America. So I really wanted her to come on the show to tell us how she gets on with managing the company between two locations and generally her story, because it's absolutely incredible. So without further ado, here she is. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on The Life of KG. It's an absolute honour to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I've listened to all of your shows, so I really I'm excited because you've had some amazing women and business owners on the podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
No, you're so welcome. So for those of you that don't know who you are, they must be living under a shell, but if they don't know who you are, please can you just introduce yourself and explain what you do?
Sure. My name's Michelle Rath. I own Sinful Lashes. We're a lash brand, so we do training. We do training nationally and internationally, and we manufacture products. We're not your typical lash brand, so we're not a private label brand. Almost everything in our brand is created from the ground up, which has been a real education for me. So we're located in Los Angeles, and I run my business post-COVID from a small island in Hawaii called Kauai. So we're the smallest island. So it's really small town living.
So it's 7:15 in the evening here in the UK. What time is it over in Hawaii?
It's 8:13 a.m. So so it's early here, but it's okay. I'm up early. Like when you live in Hawaii, you're up early when the sun comes up, because that's when everything happens. It's so beautiful out. You're not really doing much after it goes dark. So we're up early and we go to bed early.
Oh, I love that. And we'll get a little bit more into that later on in the show. But you're a complete powerhouse when it comes to the lash world. And I would love to go right back. Tell me, how did you get into the lash industry and what made you want to start your own business?
So I really got into the lash industry by mistake, almost. I was working as a wardrobe stylist with my sister on TV sets, movie sets, and absolutely hated it. Hated every minute of it. I did not want to be part of that industry. And I was at a party and a girlfriend said to me, "What do you want to do? What is it that you love doing?" And I said, "It's not a business, but I really like working with tiny little things." She goes, "Manifest that." And I said, "Well, I don't really know how I would even manifest that." But, so I started thinking about businesses with tiny little things. And I saw an ad for an eyelash extension class on social media. And I thought, that is tiny little things. I think I could do that. So I took that weekend class, and that was in October of 2011. And then December in 2012, I had opened my little single lash business. And I have loved every single minute of this industry since I got into it. So I'm really grateful for that weekend class, because that catapulted my whole life.
Yeah. So was that when you was in your 10 by 10 room?
I was in, I don't know if you have them in the UK, but in the States, we have what's called like a concept salon. So you'll have a building and you'll have maybe 30 to 40 to 50 single salons within that building. So they're all individual rooms and they're 10 by 10, maybe 10 by 20, whatever size you choose to rent. And it's your own business within a larger salon. So I rented that little room and I had my little business, and I started my business in a way that I think a lot of lash artists don't start their business. So I hope to help people with that. And so I was booked out almost from day one. And by 4 weeks, I was working 45 to 50 hours a week. I was so overbooked. So I had really started to really rethink this industry. First of all, I was really good at it. I loved every second of it. So that was really what started me to think bigger than that little 10 by 10 room.
Definitely, definitely. Do you find that you learn just through doing it yourself? Did you learn loads online after that initial course? Like, how did you start gaining all of that knowledge and becoming the lash artist that you are?
Well, I think like everybody who their first class is not great, so I was so lucky. This was 2011, right after I took my class, and I started to research online on different types of techniques and other things that we could do, because I wasn't told anything about washing lashes at that time, like most of us. And waiting 24 hours. And I thought, well, that can't be healthy for us. So I started to do some research, and I found a online group, because this was before Facebook groups. I know it's a long time ago for people, but I found this little group and it was called Wake Up Your Makeup. And it was an online like chat group, and they had a lash section in there. And I started to read the threads, and I thought, wow, these people are so knowledgeable. I'm embarrassed to ask questions, but I'll never meet them, so what difference does it make? So I started every day, asking questions, and these women were so generous with their knowledge, and they just gave me a real education because they had been doing it so long. So there were people there from Russia, from US, UK, like just in Poland, all over the world. And I literally asked probably 3 or 4 questions a day. And I was just like a little keyboard warrior, just soaking up all of this knowledge. And it turns out I met quite a few of the women on that group as time has gone on and I've traveled and trained. So, so that really, that really helped to give me an education on how to do things well. And then I started to get information about other classes from some of these masters, at that time. So I took one of the first Russian volume classes in the US from Irina Lovchuk from Russia. And she was one of the first to bring it. She was the first to bring it to the US. And so took her class and met Jill Jill.
I can never pronounce her surname either.
Pelican. I probably butchered her name, but she's really has become a close friend. And she was one of the women on that group. And I met her through that group and then took a class from Irina at her location. So it was really the catalyst. And I've taken so many classes since then, and I've taught at so many conferences. And some presenters won't listen to the presentations. Maybe they heard them before. I sit through every single presentation, and I will tell you, I get something valuable, whether it's positive or negative, from every person that I listen to. So I try to be really open to new knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about still growth and learning, no matter how much courses we take and how much knowledge we think we've got. There's always something to learn. And I actually remember the forum that you was on. There was another one called Salon Geek at the time. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
and I used to be the same, always asking the questions in Salon Geek, because back then, like I said, there wasn't Facebook forums. So
no, it was so helpful, and people were so generous with their information. That's where I learned about, washing with baby shampoo. Of course, now we've evolved from that. But at that time, that was all we had. We had to wash our lashes with something. And so that was, just little pieces of information, not waiting 24 hours, information that Jill would share about Doug Schoon, who was, cyanocrylates, scientist, and it just was invaluable for me.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you started in your 10 by 10 room, and then now you've moved to a huge location where
your salon sees over 160 clients a week. How did you find that transition in growth? Because I do know when it comes to other business owners and entrepreneurs, that transition can be really difficult. And that's why sometimes people get caught up and stuck. How did you find it?
Well, so my journey's a little interesting. I don't have the salon anymore. Now we have a retail store. We moved from that location. And so I'll tell a little bit why I kind of made this transition. So when I started in my little 10 by 10 room and I was so overbooked, I asked the girl who used to do my blowouts if she wanted to come and work with me because I liked her. And she said, yeah, I'd love to learn how to do lashes. So that's where the training portion started for me. So I trained her how to do lashes exactly like I did them so we could work on the same clients and recreate the same looks. Because I started to create lash maps back then and just so I'd have different looks for different people. And I booked her out within 4 weeks. So then I thought, God, can I do that for somebody else? And, would I be able to open a salon? And I rented another 10 by 10 room, got another bed, hired somebody else, booked her out within 4 weeks. And during this time started to create an education course. And in that course, I met other students and I liked 2 of these students. And so I was going to hire one more person for the other room, but I liked them both. And I said, I don't know if I can book you both out, but let me see if I could try. And they were like, we'll take it. And so I booked both of them out within about 6 weeks. So there were 5 of us, 2 beds. We worked from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, 7 days a week. And we were completely booked, all of us working, 8 to 10-hour days. And what I did, and I really hope people hear this, I'm in Los Angeles, which is a very expensive build out, rents are expensive. But I built out my first salon, which was about $50,000 with a profit of retail items only. So we sold a lot of retail. I was big on retail from the beginning, and I just took the profits from that and immediately put it into a separate bank account. So I'd have money to build out my salon. So my first salon was 2,000 square feet. And I hired another student and there were 6 of us and everybody was booked out. And then eventually there were 8 of us in that location. And I had already started my product line. So I started to sell products. So we became a real hub in Los Angeles for lash artists. And we saw 160 clients a week. We really became kind of famous because we had like reality TV stars that would, come to see us. And then, shout us out on social media. So it became something that really grew. But what happened is that my product line and training also was growing at the same time. And because I'm a single business owner, I've done this all without investors or going into debt with business loans. So I had to make a choice, keep all of the parts of my business or, let go of the salon. So that's what I did.
Wow. Okay. And anyone that has seen your retail space, oh my gosh, it's actually incredible because you've got your train. It's over 2 floors.
Well, it's just part of it. We have a loft in it, but it's about 2,500 square feet. So it's offices, it's retail space, and then we have a large academy.
Wow, it's actually incredible. And if anyone hasn't seen it, head over to Simple Lashes Instagram page because there's pictures on there. And I was literally like, oh my gosh, we need this in the UK. There is nothing like that here.
Well, we'd like to come to the UK. So we're launching our first trainer in the UK, and we're repackaging some of our liquids so that we can sell easily in the UK to make sure that we're compliant. So and have batch numbers because you don't need that in the US. So that's something that we have to really reconsider.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's exciting, really exciting. obviously you grew your business then, you've got this huge space, you're selling products, you're doing courses internationally, but then you actually are running your business 75% out in Hawaii, right?
I am now. So how that happened was, so during this time, we also launched the Hollywood Lash Conference, which was really, really popular. I'm so sorry. I have a tiny little dog. She's literally this big, but she can be loud. So we're going to just keep her quiet. But so we had the Hollywood Lash Conference, which is my favorite thing to do. We hope to be able to bring that back, but everything came to a halt with COVID. And so like every other small business owner or medium business owners, we're worried about survival, right? At that point, because my overhead is big in Los Angeles, because not only do we have the retail space and the academy, but we have a separate location where we have corporate offices and we do all of our shipping. And so that's another location. So rents are really expensive in Los Angeles. So we're scrambling, trying to survive. But because Los Angeles was so hard hit, like the UK, parts of our industry were completely shut down. So I have always had a location in Hawaii. And 2 years ago, we bought a house here with the idea that we would retire here someday. Not, I wouldn't be living here now, but then came here for 3 months and realized I love living here. Is there a way I can create my business so that I can live here and then run my business there? And it turns out that I can, and it's just being really efficient with time, because most of what I do is online. And with technology, all of my staff, we can all hook up together. And so what we were doing in person, we're just doing online. And I go back, teach classes, because I teach at also beauty schools, and we have a lot of different locations that we train at, and then go back to the store and kind of check in with everyone. But I see people like I see you every day, my staff, I'm talking to them every day. So I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I start at about 6:37. I'm done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes earlier. And so I have the whole day to just kind of live my life, go out, go hang out at the beach, whatever we're doing, I can do it because I can work earlier because of the time difference. So I'm really, really lucky. And I really hope that anyone that has an idea of how they want to live their life, to not be limited by the thought that it's not possible. Because I think that's been my biggest struggle in business, is always limiting myself. I always think I've got to work 7 days a week because that's how I started. Well, I don't have to work 7 days a week anymore, because I'm so sorry. Delilah, no.
I think she wants to get on your lap.
Sorry. She's so chatty. So I'm going to maybe pick her up in a second. So it, I think that's always been my struggle, because I think like a lot of women, and especially my generation, because I'm older than a lot of the new people that are getting into our industry, we're just, not taught that women are entrepreneurs, that we are like bosses, that we have to just be somebody's mom, that you can't do it all. And it's very, very hard. Listen, for moms and business owners, my hats goes off to you, because that is so, so difficult. You're stretched so thin, but we can create things if we don't limit our thinking to thinking that we have to do it just like everybody else. You can create your own schedule in life that works for you. And that's something that I really learned. I had to turn off like the old records of, you know what, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, all the things that we just kind of see all the time and hear. And I had to just turn it off and take the first step in every part of my business, because I got pushback from my family, from everyone, saying, you don't know anything about that. You don't know how to manufacture products. You've never been overseas. Well, I'm getting on a plane and I'm going. And even though I was terrified on a lot of steps that I took, I still took the step. And then what I learned is I'm a lot more capable than I thought I was, or I'm a lot more capable than I give myself credit for. And I can do things that other people couldn't do. And I almost feel like now, from what I've learned, I could do any kind of business. You know, I'm in a small island and we have holes in so many industries. I'm like, I could do that. Oh my God, I could kill that part of the industry. It's only one of me, but so I can't do it all, but I know that I could if I really put my mind to it. And I think that's what we lack sometimes as women. You know, we think we have to be, you know, Kim Kardashian to be on the internet. You know, we just can't be like an average looking woman and just go on there and just, you know, impart your information that you have or your wisdom in whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, definitely. And just, you can create your own destiny and your own life, and whatever your dreams and stuff are, just break it down, because it's achievable. Like you said, you never thought you would be in Hawaii now. You thought that would be when you've retired, and you've done it and it works. And like I said, just not following the crowd of what everyone else is doing. You can make your business work for you and be happy while you're running your business.
Well, yes. And I think, you know, when I had the salon, I think it was really good in the beginning, but I think at the end, what happened is that people who worked for me felt a sense of loyalty because I had given them their start, but they started to also be, you know, resentful of me because they wanted to go out on their own, which makes sense. They should have. They, you know, they're great at what they do, and they were all ended up being great business people and having their own businesses and doing great. So sometimes so I felt fearful of letting go of that, you know, because it's what I knew. And could I make this work without that part of it? And I could. So it's just letting go of old fears and old, you know, records that we have in our head. And if you can do that, I think you can create things differently for yourself.
Yeah, just out of interest then, would you say that your salon at the time was kind of a safety net and was scared to let that go, to then what if the, you know, the products and the supplies didn't go as well as what you thought it would? But then actually letting go of the salon made that business then grow even more.
I think absolutely, because I knew how to bring clients in. I knew how to create great products, but I will say the product line is easier, but it's more difficult in marketing, right? Marketing becomes very complex if you're going to become a national or international line. It's really about understanding algorithms, SEOs, and retargeting ads. I mean, there's so much that's just about marketing. And I think, you know, learning that, obviously I have people that do that, but I have to know what's going on has been really difficult because it's so hard to understand. It's not what we do. We're creative people. And, you know, that's been the hardest part. I wasn't sure I could do it because I didn't understand it. And sometimes we avoid things that we don't understand, right? Because it's easier to keep doing what we know.
Yeah, definitely. It's exactly the same industry, but different businesses completely. We've found that since doing our training academy and product range, completely different to running my salons, and a different way of marketing. It's just not the same. What would you say has been your biggest struggle or your biggest learning curve when it comes to the growth of your businesses?
Well, I think fear, first of all, has been the biggest struggle, right? Fear of not being able to do something well, or fear that this isn't going to succeed if I let go of that, you know, fear of like creating the life that I want, you know, and feeling guilty sometimes of like being able to live in a Kauai and run a international business. So that's been a struggle for me, I think, throughout my whole career. But I think also just really understanding marketing. I think, you know, I see so many mistakes for people that are new in business. I'm on all the Facebook groups, not because I need to be, but because I learned so much about the holes in our industry. And I think so many people think, well, I'm going to take a class and I'm going to start this business and I'm going to charge the cheapest amount I can charge and I'm going to be booked because I'm so cheap, instead of understanding how marketing really works. And it's not social media. social media is a really important part of what we do, but the most important part of what we do is how every single person finds everything, is that they pull out their phone, start their search. And so you have to understand what that entails, what a good website is, how SEOs, if people invested their money and time into that, instead of trying to invest all their time into social media and maybe, buying, giveaways for clients and putting money into things that actually bring you clients, you would have a very successful business from the beginning, because that's how I got booked out. That's how I was able to book people out so quickly, is because before I opened, I had a really well optimized website. So every time people were looking for services in Los Angeles, I was on the first page, every single time. And then, just kept myself there by understanding that I have to pay people every 6 months to re-optimize me. So I think if people started this in this industry and thought of it as a business like every other business owner thinks of it, they would be successful from the beginning without having to do all the struggle and keep going cheaper, and not making a living that you can pay your bills on.
Definitely. And I think nowadays, especially in this stone age, everyone just thinks social media, and puts all of their eggs in that basket, when social media is such a small platform to be just running your business on solely. There's so much more out there. Not everyone is on social media. Okay, loads of people are, but not everyone is. And actually, people do still go to Google first before social media. And people,
absolutely, because listen, even if, let's say you have 3,000 followers, which for a single lash artist is a lot of followers, most of those people aren't clients or potential clients. They're people, right? And maybe you've marketed, and so you've built up to that 3,000. And when you make a post, maybe 100 people out of the 3,000 see it. They already follow you. Unless you're really savvy on social media and really understand marketing and Reels and TikTok, you're not reaching people outside of your network. But on your website, you're reaching 97% of potential clientele if you're on page 1, 2, or 3, right? So, and then if you tie that into your social media, if you know how the whole circle works, then you almost can't fail. Right. But people forget the most important, the 97% of how to reach potential clients or customers for products or potential students, right? People, I want to become a trainer. Well, girl, you better know marketing, because marketing is where you're going to find your students. You can't become a trainer unless you understand marketing, right? I can do lashes. I'm going to train people. Well, you maybe get one person every 4 months or 3 months, but if you want to have a business, a training business, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a business. Bottom line, what we do is a business. I was listening to your podcast with Helen Ward, I think.
Yeah, Helen Ward.
What an amazing business person. But what I got from that is that her and her husband created every step as a business, not as, they're hairdressers who are bringing people in. They thought of the whole picture as a business. And that's really what people have to do.
Definitely. In the UK, I don't know what it's like in the US, but a lot of the salon owners find it really hard to get off the salon floor. They're still doing treatments and still running the business at the same time. A lot of what I do in my coaching when it comes to salon owners is trying to get them off the salon floor and work on their businesses and seeing it as a business rather than them as just a lash artist within a salon that also has to hold the salon up also. With you obviously leaving the US to go to Hawaii, and obviously you losing that control as such in the business day to day, or not being there day to day, how did you find that? Or did anything change? Did you lose any aspect of the business? Did you feel like you lost control?
Well, here's what's interesting is that our profits go up every month, right? Every month, because I 100% can focus on growing the business, right? So everything that I do is on growing the business. When I'm in Los Angeles and I'm in our store, I don't do anything for the business. I'm just talking to people and helping, customers that come in, getting an understanding. And that's what I kept finding myself doing when I was there, is I would get so little done. Here, I have a specific amount of time that I sit and I'm working on marketing and growing the business and understanding different parts of the business, maybe taking classes, coaching from other business owners. So I really feel like if you want to grow your business, then you have to be proactive in that. When you're doing services, you know, you're that part of your growth is so limited.
Definitely. And I wish more people would see that and not have that fear behind them, that they're like, oh no, but I take all the money doing all the treatments, or that's all they know and they don't want to work on the business. But there's so much freedom that can come with owning a business and managing it right, and just being on the business side of it rather than the services side of it. I mean, just like me, obviously I have a little girl, I live on my own with her, I get to have all the school holidays off of her, I get to work in school hours if I want to. You obviously live abroad, like there is so much you can do when you work on the business, and suit it around your time, like work when you want to work. And that's what I love, and that's what I'm so passionate about when it comes to business owners and doing it correctly, running a business.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And again, it comes down to fear. I'm afraid to leave the floor. I'm afraid. And honestly, you don't know unless you take that leap. And it's always that first step. The first step is hard, right? So what does that look like by, cutting down maybe your hours by 50%, and then dedicating 50% of that time that you've cut down to growing your business, right? So it's fear. Fear is like, the killer for us. But listen, we've got one go around. So you gotta make some leaps, because you don't know what you're capable of unless you do that. But I always think, I'm a big believer, because I'm from Los Angeles and Hawaii. So, we like crystals and, gurus, everything else. So I'm a big believer in manifestation. And really for me, manifestation is different than, just like dreaming something. Manifestation comes with focusing your energy on what your goals are. And then it allows you to open yourself up to the ideas on the steps to take to make it happen. Sometimes if you're just stuck on a salon floor, you don't have the time to do that. Right. So sometimes it's just opening yourself up and saying, okay, here's what I want. Here's what I want to do. I need to figure out how to make this work, and this is going to tell the universe, or however, you do it. Tell yourself, this is what I want. This is how I want it to happen. And then figuring out the steps and taking those first steps. Listen, I've made a lot of mistakes. I could write a whole book on business mistakes, because I don't have business investors. Most people in the US with brands that are, my size or larger, there's a lot of people behind that brand that are investors. I'm a single business owner. I don't have a business degree, but what I have is, the reality. I know what the reality is to keep it growing, and that's marketing. So I think if you're going to be a single business owner and you don't want to pitch and have, investors come into your business, then really, really take marketing classes. That's really, really important.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely agree. And also I would say having systems in place is really important as well, especially when you're not in the business. Is there any systems that you have in place to obviously keep the businesses running how you want them to run?
I have a little different business philosophy. I think processes are really important. The person that runs my corporate office is one of my best friends for 20 years. And I really wanted her to come work with me for a long time, because she is so anal and so detailed about everything that she does. And so I'm super lucky that she creates all the processes at that location. And my son works there. He's my graphic artist, and he's busy, works full time. And so I have people that really have my back. at our retail store, my manager there is just somebody who when she came in, I knew this was my person. I pay her really well. And she calls me every day. She checks in. And so she's just really amazing and smart and quick. So I like to work with women that I feel are smart and quick, and they just don't need me to tell them a lot of things to do because sometimes they're one step ahead of me. So I'm really, really fortunate. So I think really going by your instinct, I don't go by what's on the paper sometimes, because on paper, none of these people fit my business, but personally, they fit my business really well.
Isn't it so incredible how far you can go with the right team behind you?
Yes, yes. And I think when I let go of the salon, first of all, it made myself very sick because I was so stressed out trying to hold on to this thing that I thought was so important. And, like finding out, who was stealing and who was, trying to create business behind my back, which was a total waste of time. I didn't really want that to continue anyways, but I thought it was like all I knew. So I think sometimes if things aren't flowing well, just let it go. And then, create something better. Something better will come along, a better person, a better process, better part of your business. So yes, I learned a lot from that period of time because I should have let that go much earlier than I did.
For sure. What's next for you, Michelle, and for Sinful?
So the next thing that we're doing, because we don't feel comfortable doing the Hollywood Lash Conference right now, I am creating a smaller, more intimate conference in Hawaii because, I like Hawaii. And it's really geared towards, it's not really your average conference where you sit and listen to speakers. It's more individual workshops happening at one time. And it's really for people who are brand owners and trainers or people who want to be those things. So the workshops are really specific on understanding marketing, right? How do you really understand that marketing? So because it's so complex, people who do it really can help you find a shortcut to all of those things. Or becoming a trainer, people think, oh, I'm just going to go on eBay or Etsy and buy a manual and throw it out there without understanding all the things that you really need to know to become an effective trainer, so your business doesn't sizzle in 6 months, fizzle out. So things like that is what we're doing. So we're going to launch that pretty soon, and I'll have the dates up, within a month or so, and that'll be sometime early next year.
Oh, how exciting. Very exciting. Where can people connect with you if they're listening to this and want to get in touch? How is best to connect?
Well, I think for me, Instagram or Clubhouse are what I do most. And I do a lot of free classes. So I will do an Instagram live while I'm doing a Clubhouse. So on Instagram, we're sinful_lashes. On Clubhouse, it's Sinful Lashes. And I think that's the best place to connect with me. I don't do a lot of lives on Facebook just because my following is just much bigger on Instagram. I get it.
That you're a Clubhouse lover as well. Isn't Clubhouse just the best thing?
I love it. And I think, a lot of lash artists don't use it as much as they should because it's really a lot of just a wealth of information that happens. So I try to listen to it whenever I can. My sister's big on Clubhouse. She's a wardrobe stylist. She does, so her and makeup artists do classes. So I listen to them. They have really great ideas. So I think, if you're not on Clubhouse, get on it, find somebody, get an invite, because it is a wealth of free information that is going to be invaluable. If you're opening to growing, those are the kind of platforms that you can really shine in.
Definitely. I was completely obsessed when I first got in, and I didn't sleep for about a week because I was actually on the American room. So it's obviously different times. And I was go to bed, thought, I'll just listen to this in the background. And it was just full of knowledge. I just wouldn't sleep. And I'd be there with my notepad, scribbling everything down. It's like a class that we've paid for that we haven't had to pay for. It's incredible.
It really is. And it's something that just is, every time I go on and do it, it's just so, first of all, so rewarding. And I like to just listen. I do a lot of marketing classes from other people that I watch on TV. They're on there doing classes, like all the Shark Tank people do clubhouse rooms. I mean, it's so incredibly valuable. So I think if you are not on there, get on Clubhouse today, because I'm going to be doing another Clubhouse with an Instagram Live on how to really work social media to your advantage, how to reach those people outside of your network. That's what we have to do.
When are you doing that?
That's going to be next week. I will announce it tomorrow.
Fabulous. I will be there. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for giving up your time. I'll let you go now because I know you're extremely busy, but just thank you very, very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
If you love this episode, please share and tag us on social media at KG Salon.
I always follow them.
If you're a salon owner and would like to join our membership program, coffee, cake, and chat, get in touch for a space. Be around a like-minded tribe. Have 400 pounds worth of mentoring a month. And push yourself to the next level.
I love being a part of such a great community.
Until next time, have an amazing, successful week.